Hey guys, what's going on? Uh, Hope y'all are having a good week so far. Today we're going to talk about open houses. Everybody knows that they're tried and true, but still some people are kind of anti-open houses. Oh, I don't do that. I don't, for whatever reason, some people don't do that. But what we found in my experience is that it's a for sure proven way to at least get um, buyers, one or two buyers from each open house that you get. And not only that, a lot of times leverage correctly, and if you do what we tell you to do, you're gonna get sellers too. The neighbors are gonna come by. We're gonna talk about exactly what to do in order to increase, the opportunities for everything. So the purpose of this class is to teach a proactive and intentional approach for effectively establishing relationships from the people that you're going to meet at open houses. And the expectation after this class is that you should feel confident enough to hold an open house and wreck it, get one buyer at least, and at least fill up your database with a few contacts that you can at least close one closing in the next 30 to 45 days, and ideally, one or two closings in the 90 to 180 days post the open house. And that's the result. That's the results we're going after, is to add from, if you're doing one open house a week, you're going to get 10 to 40 additional transactions a year. That's just the numbers. It's proven, and it happens. So we're going to talk about it. Excuse me. So the plan is we're going to plan the open house. We're going to meet new clients, and we're going to get their info. We're going to ask the right questions. And then we're going to convert them into buyers. We're going to work them and close them. We're going to put them in our client care systems and our nurture plans for referrals and future business. And then it starts over again. More open houses, more new leads, more new buyers, more new client care systems. And we're going to give you all this stuff after class. I'm going to post it in the on the website in the show notes, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm looking at. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. Let's look at this. This is some of the results that's proven. So it shows you right here. This top bar is basically your skill level. If you're consistent, if you're not even honestly that good, but if you're consistent and you do 2 open houses per week, 45 weeks of the year, for a total of 90 open houses, and an average of 5 people coming through, and that number, these numbers stay the same as far as the amount of open houses that you're doing, and the average number of walkthroughs is 5. 5 people, that is a successful open house. You can get, I've had a lot of people come through open houses, and if it's the right property on the right road, and you do it at the right time, and it's a good day, and those are the things that you can control, as far as the weather and where the house is and the location. But we're going to teach you things exactly what to do to make sure that you get these average number of walkthroughs. 5 is conservative. Don't get me wrong. But these numbers equal 450 total talks. So you're talking to 450 additional people a year. That number doesn't change. The only numbers that change are your appointment set rates, your set rate right here. If you're consistent, you're only going to get set 10% of appointments. That's not that great. That's pretty, that's, not top producer. If you're really good, you're really effective, you have scripts, there's no reason that you can't convert 20%. So all these numbers are staying the same. The only thing that's going up is your appointment set rate. So at 10%, you're setting an additional 45 appointments a year. So that's 45 appointments a year. Let's say only 50% of those show up, which I hope it's higher than that. It should be higher, but for conservative sakes and for doing the number, it's 45 sets. Show up rate 50%. Total meetings 23. Let's say you convert 45% of those, which is conservative, that's an extra 10 closings a year. So in this market, the average home price is like 275. Let's say at 250, that's $6,000 a commission per closing, and that's 10 extra closings a year. So if you're just consistent, you're not even that good, you're not efficient, you're not proficient, you're gonna close 10 listings a year more than you would have for 60 grand in commissions, average GCI. If you're efficient, we know that your numbers are going to go up, not the amount of open houses you do. You're not working more open houses. You're just more effective in your appointments. Your total closings are going to go up from 10 to 23, and that's more like it. At 6,000 each, that's over 120 grand. And if you see over here, this is for proficient, this is for the beasts, this is if you're good, you have your systems in place and your scripts, you can close up to 41 more closings just from open houses. And we all know at least one person who only does open houses. I for sure do. And this particular information like really opened up my eyes, because it's totally possible. People are doing just open houses and are making all of their money, over 250 grand, just from the open houses. So it's totally possible. Let's go next. This is basically what the whole strategy is. People are prospecting. This is our form of prospecting, but on the other hand, buyers themselves are also prospecting. They're looking and they're serious enough to stop, so they're going to come into the open house, and what we like to call label the looker. By asking the right questions, you can determine who's really serious and who's worth spending time on. You got to know your welcoming dialogue. You got to know how to label the lookers. You got to have the right follow-up dialogue and the justification dialogue. We're going to talk about that stuff soon. But for the haves, for what you need to have, the call list is your follow-up. So that's post open house. Directional signs, you need to have at least 10. If you've been to our other classes, I preach this. A lot of the big coaches out there will tell you 30 signs. And if you really want results, yeah, the more signs, the better. It's a small price to pay. The time sign. You want some form or another of an open house sign to show what time you're going to be in. And the guest register. You want them to sign in. You want them to sign in some way or another. There's multiple ways for you to do this. An iPad or just a paper register, sign in. Hey, seller asked that everyone who's coming in just sign in so we have a record of who's been in their house. Most people are not going to have a problem with that. The home criteria sheet, print out MLS sheets, print them out and have them there with you. Have information not only on that house, but you got to have information on other houses around it that are comparable. Because if you watch my other class, you've heard me say this before. The goal of your open house is to get a buyer. They don't have to buy that house. You just want them to buy a house. So I like to have the information for other listings that are comparable. That way, if they're obviously not interested in the house or it doesn't meet their criteria, if you're asking the right questions, you're going to say, hey, I think I know a house that you're going to like. It's around the corner. Hey, if you give me 30 minutes, in an hour, the open house is I can lock up in an hour. I'll set the appointment now. Y'all go have lunch and we can go check it out. So we know that strategy and it works all the time. You got to have tax information. You got to have pricing tools on your justification for pricing it, and thank you notes. Thank you notes is more of a time saver kind of thing. So that's just so you can do it as you go. Write thank you notes and do it. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing for a little bit. So the open house, the goal is to get a buyer. And we know that buyers go to open houses, and you just gotta, everyone kind of doesn't like, or is kind of scared to ask for them to sign in. And I have a few tips and tricks for that. What you can do is it's really cool. If you've heard us talk about lead pages, you can get lead pages, and they offer this really cool product called Lead Digits. And it's where they basically text a word. And what I do is the address. I say text, carousel, a house on Carousel, text carousel to 33444, and it'll get you all the information on the house. And they kind of sign in and they get the information. So that's kind of how I give them the information. So let's keep going on real quick so we don't get out of order. This is crucial. Let me show you all this real quick. And I'm going to have all this information for you on the show notes, and y'all can see it, and you can, follow along and keep it as your open house guide. So this is important. You got to get your mind right. And this is super crucial, and so these are some core entrepreneurial beliefs that you got to get in your head, because if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. So number one, there is no growth without discomfort. You only grow when you're uncomfortable. That's the only time. And if you really think about it, it's so true. Growing pains. That's why they call them growing pains, because you're only growing when you're uncomfortable, when you're out of your comfort zone. Number two, I live in a world of abundance. In this game that is real estate, you have to have that mindset that there's enough to go around. You're not worried about competition. There's enough to go around. Work is abundant. Listings are abundant. Closings are abundant, and everything is abundant. You're there to embrace it. Number three, the market does not and will not determine my income. Another core belief, my only limit is time. So that's really the only limit. And number five, focus is the key to success. You got to focus on what you want. Number six, I reap what I sow. So, if you work, you will get results. It takes work. It takes weekends. It takes open houses. And success stems from duplicable processes and systems. And that's what we're really going to work on today, is creating a system, a duplicable process for your open houses, so that every Saturday and Sunday, whether you choose to do an open house or not, you can basically just say, boom, I'm going to do this. You kickstart your process, your system, and everything's a checklist. And every time you can have sustainable and repeatable results. Number eight, so crucial. It is unacceptable for my business to earn zero. And this is a daily thing. There should be no day where you haven't put at least, one client, which is a couple $1,000s. You should at least put one client in your data bank, and that's your pipeline, something. But you cannot do nothing. Number nine, people have lived before me, so don't reinvent the wheel. We know what works. We can just copy people, not copy them, but you see what works and see what you like, leave what you don't, and just, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Leverage is the key to abundance. Millionaire Real Estate Agent. If you read the book, you know it. If you haven't, you need to. It's by Gary Keller, but it talks about leverage. Leverage is the key to abundance. And number 11, it's a win-win or no deal. That, as in real estate, another crucial core belief. Number 12, cost is only an issue in the absence of value. And if y'all have worked in our office, you probably know those. So real estate sales beliefs. Real estate sales is the get-rich business. That's why you're in it, right? It's the quickest and easiest way to get rich. It takes hard work. But number two, it's basic. Real estate sales is basic. It's fundamentally very, very simple. It's not easy, but it's basic. Number three, real estate sales is a task business. And that's a good thing, because tasks you can check them off. You do them. You just knock out these tasks and they create results, which in our business equals a lot of money. Number four, this is the belief: I will not convert 100% of the leads I do not generate. So the key here is generate, generate, generate. Number 5, people will trust and follow what I can logically and tangibly explain. Don't try to BS anybody. You got to be able to logically and tangibly explain it to where it makes sense to people. And it's unacceptable to leave the client's money on the table. If you firmly believe these deep down inside, you're going to have no problem getting rich. Okay. Buyer beliefs. Time reveals all. So over time, you will find, working with buyers, you'll learn. So over time, if people are serious, that's kind of what they're talking about. Motivated, qualified, and loyal people buy homes. So, you want to find motivated people who are motivated, people who are qualified. Those are pretty easy, and loyal. If you do your job and you do what you say you're going to do, they will be loyal to you. Number 3, having a process reduces the risk that comes with buyers. Real estate's a risky business. Our E&O insurance is, indicative of that. So having a process reduces the risk that comes with working with buyers. Number 4, if they won't meet me, they are not a buyer. I say this all the time. You want to get people into the office. You want to get a meeting, because a meeting, they're investing time with you. And if they're investing time with you, then they're motivated and they're loyal. And then it's just a matter of getting them qualified. Number 5, A buyers, as in grade A buyers, deserve my immediate time and attention. Every once in a while, or maybe every open house, it can definitely happen. You're going to meet people who are A buyers. They are someone who's motivated, qualified, and loyal, ready to buy a home. They're motivated. They really want to buy a house. They're super qualified, and all they need is someone worth being loyal to. And hopefully that someone is you. So holding an effective open house. There is a method to the madness. When it comes to choosing your open house, it's awesome, because just like you can choose your clients. So if you want a $100,000 buyer, have an open house in a $100,000 neighborhood. If you want a $500,000 buyer, have an open house in a $500,000 listing or neighborhood. So priced according to your goals, and you can be choosy. If it's not your listing, you're doing someone else's listing, high traffic area, choose the right thoroughfares, in neighborhoods that get a lot of traffic, you're going to have more success. And hopefully it shows well inside and out. So hopefully it's not a fixer-upper, or hasn't just been put lipstick on or anything. So the preparation, I advise at least starting 3 days before, at least, that many days. If not, if you can, I would do, if it's going to be Saturday, start Monday or Tuesday. As far as loading it on the MLS, put some signs up that have the time sign only, this Saturday, do Craigslist. And I have an open house protocol. It's in one of our previous episode show notes, but I'll include it with this one too for this open house class, just so it can all be together. So inform 50 neighbors of the open house. Ideally, you're going to go door knock these people. You're going to door knock everyone on the street. If you're good on the phones, go in, Land Voice, or go in Cole Realty Resource, or whoever you get your numbers from, and call them. Call the neighbors. Just, hit the phones for 2 hours and make some phone calls. And we have a good open house. We have a good neighbor preview script. Basically, hey, Mr. John, I wanted to let you know I'm listing the house at Billy and Jones' house around the corner from you, and I'm having an open house on Saturday, and I wanted to invite you to a special neighborhood preview. It's from 11:30 to 12. Open house doesn't start till 12. So you can come in and see the house. I know everyone likes to see their neighbor's house, and I hope to see you there. That's all you need to say. If it's a note that you leave on their house as a door hanger, or if it's a phone call or an email, just let them know that they're having a special neighbor preview. And the idea is that if the neighbors go and they're there before the open house starts, then when the open house starts and actual buyers start coming, they're going to see some activity there and some people there. And then it's the herd mentality, which is People just want to go where everyone else is, and they're going to follow the herd. So that's one strategy. In the preparation, buy a clipboard. Not necessarily crucial. I hope it has counters, but a clipboard is cool to have for filling out a sign-in sheet and stuff like that for the consumers. Open house register. You can print this out. We have a template for it, or you can use an iPad or any other tablet that has the Open House Pro. Really cool little open house sign-in app. It's free. I think it's free for the basic version. There might be some limits on that, but Open House Pro or Open Home Pro is the app. But a handwritten sign-in sheet works just fine. So print the tax records and the MLS sheets. So basically, you want to print anything that anybody might ask. You want to have all the information ready that anyone might ask. Seller's disclosures, tax records, MLS sheets. If there's any, supplemental disclosures, have all of it. If there's been foundation work, have the foundation assessment there with you. If there's a previous inspection report, have that there. Have anything that could possibly come up a really motivated buyer might ask you, so you can answer it. Summary support pages for all active homes in the area. You don't need to print out the whole MLS sheet for the active homes in the neighborhood. You just want to print out basically like a line item report. That way it's a guide for you. So if someone is interested in one, you'll have the MLS number there, and you can pull it up on your phone or on your computer if you have it. And a set of basic pricing tools. So a CMA, that's basically what it's telling you to have, is a CMA. So the action, put out plenty of signs on the way to open house. So what I do, and this is again in the show notes, but what I do is I go in Google Maps and I kind of zoom into that area where the house is in the middle, and I put signs in on the thoroughfare. I put signs all around that's kind of like guiding them to the house. And when you have that aerial view, it really helps choose the best place to put the signs. You need a lot of signs. Arrive 20 minutes before, at the minimum 20 minutes before, because people are going to show up early. It happens all the time. Prep the home. Go in all the bathrooms. Make sure the toilets are flushed. Just check everything. Clean out the dead cockroaches. It's Houston. It's hot, and they all come out. So just make a walk around the house and fix anything that you wouldn't want there to be in the house. Turn on all the lights, open all the drapes and blinds, adjust the thermostat, make it really cool. So when the door's opening and back and forth, it's not going to be hot. And a candle, a nice smelling candle, and I always bring music, a little speaker just in case, and the thank you notes. So that way you can start working on them while you're there, and be real effective. So here's the visiting neighbor script sample dialogue. You can see I'm informing the closest neighbors. In this case, I would love to see you at the open house. Here's my card. Or this is if you're in person, basically inviting them. And this is where you get sellers. This is where you not only get buyers, but you get sellers who see you putting in work and see you, actually marketing their neighbor's house, because so many people think realtors just put a sign in the yard and don't do anything. But this is a way to really make a good relationship with the sellers. And then once you make a relationship with them, you need to nurture them and make note of that, put them in your database, and market to them. So here's the welcoming dialogue. So this is the gold right here. When someone walks in, as lookers enter the home, hi, my name is Adam with Remax Real Estate Associates. Come on in, make yourself at home. Smile, engaging smile, and a firm handshake, and look them in the eye. Just adult stuff. The seller would like a record of everyone who's been through the house today. So could you please sign in just so we have a record. You can hand them the clipboard, or you can just guide them to the counter and they can sign in that way. Also, let me know if you have any comments or any feedback for me. That way I can pass it on. And, feedback is always great from another person's perspective. And say, take your time, look around, and let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Do not play tour guide. Do not guide them around the house and say, hello, hey, this is the bathroom. That's the toilet. This is the linen closet. Don't do that. And if you're doing that during showings, you need to stop. But don't play tour guide. Let them do their thing. If you're worried about security, your sellers really shouldn't have anything out that they should be worried about. And you should tell them of that beforehand. Is make sure that they have all that stuff hidden, like, no guns around or anything like that. Your goal for these people is to answer any and all questions that they may have, identify exactly where they are in the buying process, and close and or follow up accordingly. So you got to, the bottom line is you must engage them. But, you have three main, reasons or goals. You have three main goals. One is to answer the information, give them the info that they want, answer the questions that they have. And then number two is identify what kind of buyer they are. Are they an A buyer, a B buyer, or a C buyer? Are they just a looker? And close and or follow up accordingly. If someone's ready to buy, set an appointment, show them more houses, really work it. If they're, a year out, put them in your nurturing campaign and follow up with them. So as far as providing relevant information, we have some really good scripts. And this is how, you always try to get as much information as possible, because it allows you to better help them. So we know that the better questions you ask, the more, that's what sets you apart from your competitors, is the good questions. And you can see here, once they've toured the home, if they ask how much it is, the sellers are asking 150,000. You could end it there, or you can say, does that fit your price range, or what price range are you trying to stay in? Yes. They say, yeah, that's fine, 150, but what school district is it in? You need to know your product, know everything you can about the house, school district included, know your property taxes, but you see here how he's asking, is that a desirable district for you? Or does that fit your budget for property taxes? No, that's a little high. But all the information that you get allows you to better serve them. And, it says keep providing the looker information and re-engaging the questions until you hear no. Upon hearing no, you must immediately switch roles from information giver to that of labeler. Labeler by asking the looker, are you currently in the market for a new home? So, you ask the right questions, it's going to happen. You'll get what you need to know. So here's a flow chart for the labeling dialogue. Let me zoom out a little bit. Are you currently in the market for a new home? Yes. So don't worry. After the show, y'all will get a link to all this and be able to really look at it and download it for your records. Are you currently in the market for a new home? Yes. How are you going about finding your perfect home? We have an agent. Okay, cool. What process are you using that will ensure you get the home you want? So, as far as exactly what you say, it's all about asking the right questions. Did your realtor sit down with you and uncover your needs and thoroughly discuss roles and expectations? This will really distinguish yourself from hopefully from their realtor. Because, I had a guy recently that his realtor told him to go around and call the listing agents and ask them to see the house, and then when he wants to make an offer, to call him back. And that's horrible. This guy puts him out on his own and then just wants to write a contract. But asking these questions can really help differentiate yourself. And if they haven't signed the buyer rep agreement, you might be able to get some clients from a realtor who doesn't deserve them. So this is the whole flow chart. You really got to look at this and internalize it. And that'll really help you do with some conversions. So when the looker is ready to buy, so if they are, so how are you going about finding your perfect home? If their answer implies they are not being intentional, then something you could say, how would you like to use a proactive process? So I always tell my clients that I have systems and processes that help me help them, achieve their goals. And then you start with it would begin with us getting together for about an hour or so I can uncover exactly what you need in your next home, define your comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss the rules. So what's that? That's our buyer consultation. We just had the class on the buyer consult. It's the last class, and it's in the video archive on the website, and that'll tell you how to plan for it, get ready for it, and how to execute the buyer consultation. So that's crucial because that's the next step: open house, and then buyer consult. So we have all the information on the website for you. So your goal is to book an appointment. And if they want to work with you, so book the appointment, write and mail a thank you card. So this is kind of, it depends. If your appointment's in a week, you don't really want to mail it. Maybe you just email it, but you can still mail it, and it'll be a nice surprise when they get it. And always call and confirm the appointment. Crucial. So some people aren't going to want to meet. They're not going to think that they don't need to meet with you. They're going to be like, oh, we don't really need to get together. Let's just go look at houses. So you'll have to justify. It says you may be required to justify your reasons for getting together. So here's a little script on that to help you. Do you see a benefit in us getting together for a sit down? Well, other agents don't have me do this. Exactly. So you can say this. Exactly. Understand that I'm a real estate consultant and I'm extremely serious about what I do. I don't just do this part-time. I run a business, and I'm not just in the business of showing houses. I'm in the business of satisfying needs. You can say that, I'm in the business of helping buyers and sellers achieve their goals, however you want to word it, but you got to pitch it as that you have systems and that other agents don't. I have a process that I use with all of my agents. Therefore, before I start emailing the information, we need to define your perfect home and make sure the homes we consider fall well within your financial comfort zone. So this is really going to distinguish yourself from other agents. And we need to thoroughly discuss our roles and expectations in a successful working relationship. This is the buyer consult. You're fighting for the buyer consultation because we know that if you have a consultation with them, you have 50% more likelihood of closing that deal. I believe the best approach when investing a large sum of money is to operate as an intentional and proactive team. Wouldn't you agree? So if yes, great. I have a 2 p.m. tomorrow. Does that work for you? If no, next. If they don't want to meet with you, it's not worth your time. Don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. So, it's pretty straightforward. It's cut and dry. If they're not going to meet with you, they're not worth investing time. It's probably going to fall out. Another way to this is more of an advanced dialogue. In regards to your next home, is it important that you make an informed, intelligent decision? Is it important that you take a proactive approach rather than a reactive one? Is it important that you get the home you want, and more importantly, want the home you get? Is it important that you make a logical decision rather than one based entirely on emotion? If yes, then shouldn't we use a proactive process that will guarantee these things? If no, next. Remember, you live in a world of abundance. There's plenty of people who want to work with you, plenty of buyers, and you don't need this one, especially if they're not going to meet with you. Remember, your choices determine your actions. Your actions become habits. Your habits create your character creates your destiny, and your destiny creates your legacy. So it's all about your choices and actions. So if they're working with another agent, here's a fine line that you kind of have to walk. If you ask the right questions, and they do let you know that they're working with an agent, so probe a little bit. What process are you using? What have you done with it? What has he explained to you? And the better questions that you ask, the more you'll find out. And did you sign anything with them? Well, if you're asking the right questions, then they're going to see the difference working with you versus their agent who's sending them to open houses. So, would you see value in being more intentional and proactive in your approach rather than just obviously your agent sending you to open houses? That's not the most proactive and intentional way to, search for your next biggest investment of your life. I have systems and processes, and we should sit down and see if I can really help you. Uh, so, and then you go back into the script as far as, trying to get a meeting, trying to get a buyer consultation for a more focused approach instead of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. If they're not in the market for a new home, says, no, I'm not. So what brings you out today? Just looking around. Well, have you ever thought about selling your home? No. Do you know anyone who's interested in buying or selling? No one. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you. If I can ever be of service to you or anyone you know, please don't hesitate to call. Thanks and have a great day. If they say no, you must say next, because world of abundance, there's plenty of buyers, plenty of sellers. You don't need every lead. So if they say no, say next. So if the looker is not currently ready to buy and they're just looking, probe, when do you think you will be ready to buy? Oh, 2 to 12 months. Well, what's most important to you about waiting, 8 months? So listen to the answer and respond appropriately. Would you mind if I stayed in touch with you through the mail as well as a phone call now and then? Would you mind if you want me to email you any new listings that come up? You want me to keep you posted on the market reports on any neighborhoods you're interested in? Just find ways, to offer information. I found most people are pretty they're pretty cool with that, as far as keeping them posted, keeping them with relevant information. Do you want to know if any new listings come up in this neighborhood, or what neighborhood are you looking for what price? However you can just get approval to stay in contact with them. If they say great, that's fine. Awesome. Get their home address and their phone number. Tell them you need their home address so you can mail them. And then if they are pretty interested, you can give them the home criteria sheet. You can make one online with Google Forms. We have videos on that stuff, how to create an online criteria sheet, or you can just have them fill one out, basically what they're looking for. And that way it'll really help you send them relevant information on exactly what they need in their next home. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thanks again for coming in. So here's some follow-up dialogue. You want to make sure you follow up with everyone who signed in and the we're just lookings, because you never know. So here's the Monday phone call. Monday's the best time to follow up, because they'll forget about you if you wait any time longer. So here's the Monday phone call, and I'm going to load this up in the show notes for you. Once you establish the time frame, ask, how would you like to proceed from here? I mean, I don't want to bug you, but I don't want you to feel I'm neglecting you either. So how would you prefer I follow up with you from this point forward? Define call frequency and identify the appropriate follow-up program. So you say, you want me to call you once a month? You want me to shoot you an email with the, with what's going on once a month? Or, some people are going to say weekly. Hey, can you just shoot me an email with new listings every week? Because, they're really, curious about what's going on. And just find out the best frequency and the follow-up method. So it's all about asking the right questions, and we'll have this all for you. The open house tools. Here's a sample open house register. It's per person, name, phone, address, remarks. Very, very, very simple. Very simple. So here's a little pro tip. Never leave a blank register for people to sign in. If it's the first time you've held the home open, completely fill in the first section with generic information. People will typically follow what they perceive others before to have done. So in this scenario, put Antonio Montana right here, put a fake number, a fake address, and put some fake remarks, just to get the ball rolling for the next person to be more likely to sign in. So here's the follow-up sheet that's for you. You should have one for each person. If you don't use a CRM, this is kind of what you'll do. But the client, the date that you met them, their info, do they have a home to sell, what's their time frame, the meeting date, when y'all are going to meet, the follow-up program, and the follow-up frequency. 8x8, it's 8 touches in 8 weeks. Come to us for more information if you want that. That's pretty popular. You can even just Google it, 8 and 8, or 8x8 with that, 8x8, or the 16 touch with 16 touches in the next 12 months. And here's notes. Every time you talk to them, just fill in the notes. And here's the follow-up notes for the handwritten notes. Hey, thanks for stopping by my open house on Saturday or Sunday. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And please feel free to call me if I can ever be of service to you or anyone you know. Or if you set the appointment, thanks for stopping by. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to helping you buy your perfect home. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again on Monday at 3 at my office or whatever. So that's if you set it. And here's the criteria. Here's an example of a criteria sheet. This probably isn't the most effective one, but we have some, and I'll load that too in the showing notes, in the show notes for the show. This is a bunch of criteria, So that's the open house boot camp. I'm gonna load all this stuff in there, and I'm gonna give y'all everything I promised. So the open house protocol sheet, the criteria form, the sign in, and I also have some other goodies for y'all, just to really help you get your open house going and make it a successful one. So remember, practice those beliefs. Real estate is a get rich business, and it's super basic. It's not easy, but it's basic. And if you are basically good at following instructions and just doing these tasks, real estate's a task oriented business. So if you do your tasks, you can make a lot of money. With the results, if you're doing 2 open houses a week and you're not even that great, you should at least be adding 10 closings a year to your business. And then as you get better and better, and your scripts and your dialogue and your follow-up, you can, as much as 40 extra closings a year directly from open houses. So I'm going to get to work on these show notes, and I'm going to load this PDF in there so y'all can have it and practice your scripts. If you need anything, come to me or Spencer, and we'll get you taken care of. Thanks so much for tuning in, and y'all have a great week.